Yeah, we went. I went to go watch fireworks and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god.
Is it
Oh,
is it muggy down there now? Because a lot of times in the
like,
other seasons, it's hot, but it's not like super muggy.
yeah, no, yesterday wasn't that muggy. It was just hot, man. It, like I said, down in the Stewart area, it's not as bad as Tampa to me. Tampa is like fucking muggy and disgusting to me.
And that's what more West Coast, right, of Florida.
Yeah, West.
Um,
I
yeah,
feel
I
like
mean,
East is just like I don't want to say cooler, but it's just less muggy.
yeah, yeah. It's not like it's hot down there, and I can't stand heat. But when you have the heat mixed with the humidity, that's what fucking makes it horrible. I can deal with the heat. The heat plus humidity just fucking knocks me on my ass, and I don't even want to go outside.
Oh, humidity makes you tired of shit, bro.
Is it
Sucks.
is it easier to diet for you in like hotter temperatures, or
Yeah.
is it easier in like cooler temperatures?
No, I like the hotter.
Really?
Yep.
What do you think? You just lose more weight?
No, I'm more energized. I'm more. I guess I'm just more happier, so to speak. Like if it's cold out, I want to just chill. I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to fucking move.
I go outside the drive to the gym, and I'm like, my fucking bones hurt, my joints is cold as
Yeah.
shit. Here, like you're always loose, man. You know what I mean? Like
Do you even own like hoodies when you're there? Like, is there even a point to have like a fucking hooded sweatshirt?
I still wear them. It's just a thing for me. I still wear them when I do cardio in the morning.
I still train in a hoodie when I start. I have to. I have to start covered up. It's
I
weird.
won't down here. I won't do that.
Too
Oh
hot.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll wear a t-shirt. That's as far as it goes. But like a hoodie here, no, no,
No.
no. During cardio, yeah, because that's just like that's my thing. But training, no,
Yeah, it's too much.
yeah, it is.
So
Especially yesterday. Fucking
we
like
were.
me and Blessing trained back, and we were just soaked everywhere.
I'll give Blessing a shout out because you every time we talk on the phone lately, you bring up how crazy and intense and strong he is in the gym. So off the record, Blessing, Nick gives you a lot of props off the record, man. Says you train
I
like a
do.
fucking
You know,
maniac.
I actually said to this he met yesterday, and I don't think he gets enough credit because his legs are really shitty. But when he hits, like, oh, he knows that they are. But if you think about it, when this man turns around, he's got a fucking great back.
Huge.
And I think people just don't acknowledge that he has a really good back. Like his lat spread's nice, his back double's nice. It's just when you go to the lower half, you're just like, oh shit.
You can say
But
Blessing has one of the craziest backs in the IPB. He really like he's got
I
his back
I
is
I
crazy.
I personally believe that.
I'm saying it. His back is insane.
And if he got the lower half to really match it and got super, super peeled on top of it, that'd be one of his nuttiest shots ever.
And we were just talking about nutty backs with Jose. I remember I was talking about Joel Stubbs, how he was like one of
Yeah.
the craziest backs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But me and you talked on a topic the other day, and I wanted to circle back with it because it's a topic that no matter who you talk to, there'll be disagreements and there'll be a group that agrees and a group that doesn't. So, well, obviously the universe is this weekend. I have my partner Joe's in it, and there's always debate around like diuretics, right? Like I've heard guys say, "Oh, I looked my best when I didn't take a diuretic." However, I'm going to go on record and say two things. I truly don't believe you can be at your all-time best with zero diuretic. I don't believe taking the things we take can be mitigated through no diuretic because you're going to be holding some water at some point
I
because of what
agree.
you're taking. So,
I just think at that point it comes down to the amount.
well, this is where I'm going. I also know people, I'm not going to fucking say names, that I've heard conversations and they've been like, yeah, I looked my best, but I didn't take a fucking diuretic for that show. And then they'll be like, yeah, I didn't take any, man. I took like a sprinkle. And I'm like, well, there it is. You didn't take none. You
You
just
took a
took bare
sprinkle.
minimum. And that I agree with.
To me,
But
to me, that creates the best look is the bare minimum because I do believe you should be so in shape that a minuscule amount will just get the job done. I feel like when you're about to do a show and you got to use so fucking much, it could hinder the look. So, in my opinion, I think you should basically be as dry as the Sahara Desert getting there, and if need be, a little quarter, little minuscule of a diazide should do the trick.
Yeah, like the diazide is supposed to be a finishing touch. The diazide is not what's supposed to get you in shape,
No, it's
right?
just a nice little whatever you want to call it.
You know, if you lose 10, 15 pounds in 2 days of a diuretic, like something wasn't right. Like you did
No,
something a little wrong.
I
And
think from the time like I'll start a diuretic until show, it may be like 2 to 3 pounds.
yeah, because if you carb up correctly and you mitigate water, salt the right way, your weight should stay within that 3 to 5 pound range, give or take, right?
Yeah.
So, but there's I hear a lot of people say like, oh, I don't want to take a diuretic because it flattens me out, or I don't need a diuretic, or I look my best without diuretics. And I'm like, no, I think that's such a fucking bullshit statement because I
You're
don't think it's possible. Now, whether it's aldactone, whether it's diazide, whether it's Bumex, whether it's Demodex, whether it's Lasix, like whatever, I'm just
that's the hardcore shit there.
half of those I haven't even used. They're just names of diuretics that people use. So
Yeah.
I always look my best with diazide, and there were times that Chris used a little bit of aldactone. But when you use aldactone, you have to pay attention to your progesterone levels, and you have to pay attention to your salt, because if you take aldactone, your salt can't go down; it actually has to go up. Or sorry,
Yep.
progesterone, aldosterone. I don't know why I said progesterone. So towards the end of my career, stopped using aldactone because it would literally flatten me the fuck out.
Right.
But I think a lot of people don't realize, because how many bodybuilders do you know that think they're flat, right? And then they go out after a show, they eat like whatever they want, they eat like shit, and then they wake up the next day and they always say, if I would have looked like this the day of the show, I would have done so much better. But they don't realize that yes, they're fuller, but they're still now they have
You're holding
fluids filled with
water.
water on them. Yeah. So it's like it's been a debate, because it's been like guys saying that they look better without diuretics, and me arguing the case that I disagree with that. I think you have to use, whether it's a quarter to a half a diazide, you're not going to look
Yeah.
your best.
Like I said, I think you should already be on point by the time you get to your show, that a minuscule amount will be enough
Yeah.
to get the job done. And
Yeah.
but I do think a little bit is always somewhat going to be needed. And I agree with you. Anyone who says no, I think is full of shit.
The best I've looked when I've taken diuretics was when I've taken like a quarter to a half. Anytime
That
I've
was me
taken,
at the Arnold.
like I've always done my best with like a quarter and then a quarter.
Yeah.
Anytime I've taken, and diuretics hit me hard. You know, I
Yeah.
could take a quarter of a diazide and lose 2 or 3 pounds.
Yep.
So, but one thing that I did learn with Chris was people handle diuretics, and not, when I say differently, people go, no shit, they handle them differently. The amount that people could take for diuretics differentiates the amount so much. Like, there was one time that I had a client in a show, and I called Chris because I'd given him at one point, like, he was at like 2 full diazides. And I was asking him, like, you going to the bathroom? And he's like, not really. So I called Chris, and I'm like, I'm a little concerned about his kidneys. I'm like, if I gave him 2 full diazides over the past day and a half, and he's not, or 2 days, and he's not pissing.
Yeah.
And Chris goes, that's okay. Chris goes, there are guys that I've had to give 2 diuretics to at once. Some people just, it doesn't burn through like others. Whereas if I took 2 full diazides, I'd lose
I'm
20
peeing,
pounds.
bro. I'm
What
peeing everywhere.
what's the most you've lost overnight from taking a diuretic?
I'd have to
Go on.
like
Yeah.
2 pounds at
Yeah.
most.
Really? That's it? What did you always just take that? Have you ever tried like Bumex or Demodex or aldactone?
No, I've done aldactone, but I've never done any of the other shit.
Were you part like team flat when you took aldactone? Like, just flatten you the fuck out?
I mean, I'll be honest, this was like before me and Matt became
Yeah,
a
yeah.
thing. So like I was still very, very new, so I didn't know what flat and full meant.
Yeah.
So I can't really tell you at that point. I just did what I was told, but I just didn't like it. It made me feel weird, to be honest. And
Now,
I just prefer a Dizide.
I know you said you don't fuck with salt with Matt. You said you and Matt never touch your
No,
salt, right?
whatever like my salt is, it stays consistent. It never, since we've been together, my salt has never gone down. It's either gone up or we just go back to the base of what it was, but
Okay.
never gone like down from the base.
Now, what about one thing I've done with Joe? Was I really skyrocketed his water a week out, and I brought him to 2 gallons. He usually drinks about a gallon-ish, gallon a quarter a day, and I put him to 2 gallons. And putting him to 2 gallons in 2 days, I put him to 2 gallons to a gallon and a half. That ripped almost 4 pounds off him. Does Matt do anything with like your water intake like that?
Nope, we drink 6 to 7 liters a day, and it'll just go down.
Okay, so he never pushes up to bring down.
Nope.
And then one thing that I tried that I ran by Jay, because he told me about it years ago, was I added in, and I'm not getting into drug talk, but one thing that I've learned working with Joe is that if you're on a flat side, obviously we think food, water, and sodium are the 3 key players. But about 3 weeks out, I added in Anadrol because I didn't want him to overdo anything with, anything else. And I was just trying to keep him full without him getting super watery. And
Right.
I can't believe the difference adding in one small compound for a small period of time, how full he got within 3 days. And I manipulated that down over the course of the 3 weeks.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm going to run it into the show. And I cannot believe the fullness that he gave him. Like, it's actually like he was like, I can't fucking believe how crazy I look. Like
So
he looks so much different with just that little adjustment. And it's like if that one little thing changes it, you have to think of like what in the grand scheme of things, how much of a role all those other things play. If one little 25 megs of something can make that dramatic of a difference, it's mind blowing, because we always say that we just do the stuff that works and don't worry about science. But then I step back and I'm like, stuff does have some fucking science in it.
it does, for sure.
You
That's why I
know?
say I appreciate science. I listen to science, but science doesn't know everybody's body individually.
Yeah.
And that's
You know,
just where you got to know the difference.
I never tried to overstudy things when it came to that stuff, because I felt like it's like you said, every body is different. So
Yeah.
if you're studying one thing, was that one thing tried on a bodybuilder when he was full blown off season, or when he was, because a normal diuretic, okay, like if you take a diazide takes 4 hours to kick in, and then it's got a 4 hour half life. But you ask Chris Aceto, if you take that same diazide and give it to that person the night before the show, Chris will tell you that he believes the diazide works in minutes, because now you don't have as much fluid in you, as much sodium, nowhere near the body fat percentage. So the absorption rate has to be faster, right?
I can
So,
agree with that.
so my point is that all the studies about diuretics, are they done with bodybuilders? Probably not. It's all just
No,
fucking trial and error. So it's
I agree
crazy
with that.
how something that works on one person, their body fat is substantially lower and it works a little differently. And whether it's more advantageous or not is everybody can agree or disagree. But yeah, so I never did any dramatic things. And the worst diuretic I ever took was actually not for a show. I guest posed for Flex Lewis at his show in Nashville, Tennessee. And I flew, somebody must be getting a package. I flew in, I think, that night, and I was guest posing the next day. So I was like, fuck, I'm just gonna take a little diuretic, because
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to fucking hold water. So I had Bumex on me. So I was like, I'm never taking this. Like I'm following a normal like off-season diet. I was like, this isn't going to affect me.
Right.
And I took a half of Bumex, dude. Bro, I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and I had to pound Gatorade. That fucking thing knocked me on my ass.
I
And
bet.
I felt worse than I did the morning of any bodybuilding show I was getting ready for. That fucking morning I woke up when I was guest posing, I was so fucking dehydrated from that half of Bumex. I'm like, I don't understand how people hammer themselves with diuretics like this.
Me
Like
neither.
it was crazy. You said you've only done diazide and aldactone.
Yep.
I don't, I don't think there's need for anything besides diazide. Now,
Since being I've only with Matt, we only use Diazide. That's it.
um, I agree. I don't think there's diazide. And then did you ever take quinine for cramping?
I luckily for me, I don't cramp, man.
You never had a cramping problem.
No. And I don't know if
What
that's
about
just because when we carb up, we eat a lot of bananas, but I don't I never cramp.
what about off season?
The only time I'll cramp is like after a hard ass leg day. And if I sit too long and I get up and then like there's that cramp, you know what I mean? But like I don't cramp like just, I never cramp.
I was known for right after a show. My fucking it was never anything else, dude. But my hamstrings would lock so bad after, and I'm talking like from not prejudging. It was always night show. Wherever I have dropped in the middle of fucking walking into a hotel. I dropped walking to the bathroom in a pizzeria. I have dropped in on a plane. I have dropped in cheesecake fat. My hamstrings would ball up, dude. And
Both?
dude, if one went, they both went.
Really?
Dude, I would cramp so bad. So,
I
and I'm
see. No, I never had it.
I almost, yeah, dude, it. I've almost been in the car and like punched somebody in the face because like it like shoots me back in my seat. We were taking off once coming back from we were going coming back from Junior USA's from the Carolinas, and we were taking off. And while we were taking off, my right hamstring went, my left hamstring went. I took the seatbelt off and I dropped in the middle of the plane. And they were trying to get me up, and I'm like, I can't fucking move. I cannot move because I couldn't extend my legs under the seat because it was one of those little puddle
Yeah.
jumper planes.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
legs would cramp so fucking bad, dude. And I would take now towards the end of my career, I would take quinine, which if you look up quinine, it's used to treat malaria, but it's
Right.
also used to um, correct restless leg syndrome. So
Oh no
it
shit.
helps you cramping. So later on in my career, Chris said, "Can you get quinine?" And I was like, "What the fuck's?" And he told me what it was. So I ended up being able to get it. And I would take one of those in the before prejudging, and then I would take one of them before the night show. And once I started doing that, I never fucking cramped again. Never. And tonic water has a lot of
Did you
quinine
ever
in it.
cramp on stage? I never have. Knock on wood.
I want to say no because I feel like if I did, I would know in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's something you should remember because that would probably
Yeah,
fuck a lot of shit up.
I don't.
You would know if you
Yeah, I
cramped on
don't think
stage.
so. I really don't. I don't think I've ever, which is crazy. I don't think it wasn't like, and I would always cramp a lot of times after I worked out. Like if I trained arms, I'd be in the shower and my fucking arm would get stuck like this and I'd have to like pull it down or
Oh, I've had that happen. I have
my
had that
quads would
happen.
cramp. My quads, chest, arms would cramp. My back never cramped. My calves never cramped, but my fucking arms, quads, and hamstrings,
I've
and
had
sometimes chest.
I never had chest. It's usually quad or a hamstring for me. Like I'll never
The
forget
work.
when I was at home actually for New York. I got done training legs and I put the compression boots on, and I guess I was already somewhat dehydrated, and they I guess they dehydrate it more because they kind of like clear all the inflammation, which dries them out.
Yeah.
And I had them on. There was maybe like 5 minutes left, and I made like I moved a little bit, and like the teardrop just went, and it wouldn't leave. And I'm jumping up and down, and my mom just looks at me and she goes, "What are you doing?" And she goes,
Dancing.
I'm like, I have a fucking cramp. I can't get it out." And she's like, she's on her, oh, and goes back to doing what
No,
she's
no
doing.
help. No help.
No help, nothing. So I gotta like unzip these motherfuckers. I'm struggling, and I'm like,
Little help here.
and she's like, "What? It's a cramp." I'm like, "Oh, okay. That's what we're doing now. Okay, it's just a
They don't
cramp."
realize that when a bodybuilder gets a cramp, it's like a life or death situation.
Oh my
That's what it
god.
feels like. The worst
She,
cramp. Go.
well, because there was another time. I think it was when where were we going? I think it was me and my dad and my mom. We were driving down to the Arnold, and my dad got a cramp in his stomach, and
Ab cramps are not fun, dude.
no, they're the worst too. I've gotten a couple of those, and he's like, "I need a Gatorade," and we don't have no Gatorade. And my mom's just like, "Lil, calm down. Like it's you're being dramatic," and he's like,
And,
"Ah."
until your mom catches a cramp, she
I
won't say that
know.
ever
I'm
again.
like, have you ever had a cramp? Cramps are no joke, man.
I had a cramp. I think it was right after I got married. It was because right after my honeymoon, we came back from Mexico, and I was in there. I was there for like a fucking week, dude. Um, and I came back on a Sunday, and then I trained legs on Monday. And I was gonna take it easy, and I went decently hard. Like I remember I squatted 405 that day because I was like, I don't know if I should have done that. I just got back from vacation, and I'm sitting on the couch watching TV, and all of a sudden my quad goes. And I was like, oh, don't tell me. My fucking right quad cramped. And I'm
Yeah.
fucking like,
You know when it's coming too. It starts a little bit like,
then my right hamstring cramped.
yeah.
Now I'm starting to fucking scream, right? Then my left quad fucking went. Then my left
Dude,
hamstring
when
went.
it rains, it pours for you, eh?
Dude, I was screaming
You can't just
so
have one
fucking.
cramp.
I had my wife at the time pull me off the couch. She grabbed my cell phone. I called Palumbo. I was working with Factory, I think, back then, but he didn't pick up. So I called Palumbo on the phone, and I was like, Dave, I'm about to call literally about to call the ambulance because it was that bad. And like I'm talking, I didn't call Dave for almost 5-7 minutes until I called him, and they were not letting up. And I was like, I felt like my femur was gonna fucking snap.
Don't they say you gotta drink like
And
salt water or some shit?
so he said, get a cup of salt water and
Yeah.
chug it. So she put a ton of salt water. I pounded it. Within about 2 minutes,
Cool.
everything went away.
Yeah.
But then I had violent diarrhea from the salt water. So it's like it solved the cramp, but now I'm getting dehydrated because I just
Now you're
drank
getting dehydrated all over again from diarrhea.
10 ounces of salt water.
Yo, you can't
But
win, bro.
no, and then they almost called the cops on me outside the Platinum after the Olympia one year. Got out of the car, cell phone. I had a bag of Sonic, like a milkshake, a soda, like carrying all my shit. Bro, stepped out of the car, dude, right by the front door. Stepped out. You would thought somebody fucking sniped me and just shot me.
Really?
Bro, my leg locked up completely. I fell right to the ground. All the food, all the soda, milkshake, fucking fries, burgers, fucking everything goes all over the place. I'm fucking screaming. The guy comes out trying to call the cops. I got my ex-wife saying he's not drunk. He's got a cramp. Please don't call the police. I've cramped bad, dude. Fucking bad.
Yeah, and mine's never been that bad, bro. You're fucked up.
Cramping sucks, man.
You got some fucked up shit going on over
And
there.
I never could figure it out because Charles, back then Charles did a lot of my training, and he was like, I would even take like potassium every day.
Yeah.
Nothing worked. So I salted the fucking shit out of my food, especially in the off season.
Oh
I
yeah.
I don't know about you, but I always used high salt on my meals because if you use higher salt, if you don't have high blood pressure or whatever, I would use high salt and then kind of just normalize it and not overdo it. And just by doing that, it acted as a diuretic.
Yeah, if you drink enough water, for sure.
But you don't really fuck with it at all. Do you
I
increase
I
it in the off season?
no, I keep it what it is year round, man. I don't really.
Is there a specific salt? Some people are like, I only use Celtic fucking
I
pink
I use
Himalayan.
I just use Himalayan pink salt.
Yeah.
That's about it. I use the ones that
Say that again. What is it called?
fuck off. I'm not saying it again.
What is it called?
Pink salt.
I believe you said Himalayan. It's
Something like
not
that.
fucking it's not Middle Eastern, so it's Himalayan. You
I
said
was close.
Himalayan.
I was fucking close. Blow me, asshole. But I just do like 3 cranks. And I'm good.
And you don't really use a lot of sauces either.
Not really. A little bit here and there.
Yeah, I never really see you fucking because you're usually banana, nut butter, and then whatever protein mixed with rice.
Yeah, that's it. I feel like that's a lot of flavor in itself.
What about off season? Does that change?
I'll use more sauces, but not. I still just keep it simple.
Yeah. So you're what now? It's 14 weeks out?
Today, yeah,
What's your weight? Are we still allowed to ask that? Well, you never care. You always fucking
two
you're always
eighty.
honest.
Two
Now,
eighty.
when when you were getting ready for New York, at what point were you 280? Were you
I
like
actually don't. I actually don't remember.
because you were what 260 the day of the show?
260. That was 257, bro.
I told you. Okay, so you were right around 260. So you think the day of the show you were 257?
The morning of, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were like 260 on the dot.
No, 257. And then at night I was 256.
That's crazy. That you even fucking lost weight. So 280 now, 14 weeks out. What do
Matt
you
actually
have?
just lowered my food a little bit, so
What are you thinking? You think you're gonna be around the same or less? See, everybody always thinks that like the next
I
show.
don't want to, honestly, I don't even want to put a number on it. I just want to come in more peeled than the or New York. That's my goal.
Why do you think so many people put in your position or in just in general? Because I did it too. Why do you think we as bodybuilders put such an emphasis on the number when we're dieting? Like when I'm dieting, if I don't see that number go down, I start to like get mad. Like that should be going down. And then if it goes up like
I'm
one day, half a pound or a pound, I'm like, why the fuck did it go up? It should be going down. And then
I'm the
like
same way.
you are.
I am the same way. I check my weight every day.
Now, when you're dieting for a show, because I know it happens to everybody, there's always a day where let's say you're 280, 279, 278, and then one day you wake up and it's like up 280 again, and you're like, how the fuck did it go up? And it
Oh,
like
I've been there,
pisses you
yeah.
off. But it in the grand scheme of things, you and I both know, does that really matter?
Well, I think the scale is a good indicator, but you should always go by the mirror or pictures, whatever, float your boat.
Would you ever be comfortable doing a prep and never stepping on the scale?
Nope.
It
I would never do it. I'll never do it.
you think it would mentally fucking
I would have to know.
now I know you're probably not going to give me an answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why do you have to know?
For my own mental sanity.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, so just bear with me. But your weight doesn't matter.
I think it's a good indicator. I think it matters to a degree because I think for a coach, you could have a certain look and then here's your weight. And then this could be the look that you want to present on stage at that weight. And if you fuck around a little lower, you could be a little flat. If you're a little heavier, it could be a little watery. So
I agree with that.
there's always going to be a certain weight with a certain look that you want to replicate or, have for the show. And I think that's when it becomes a good indicator because it's like, here's the thing, like if you're, this is where like refeeds can come into play, right? Let's just say you're a
Yep.
fat fuck and you lose like 5 pounds, but you're still a fat fuck. I'm not giving you a refeed, bro. Like, you're still a fat fuck.
Agreed.
But if you're, 6 weeks out, we're ahead of the game. You had a week where you lost, a good 3 or 4 pounds in a week. It's like you're ahead of the game. We need to feed up now. You know what I mean? But even if sometimes you're ahead of the game and your weight's not really budging, sometimes even a good refeed can be beneficial because it might just kickstart some shit, and now you're zooming again. So in those cases, I do think keeping track of, maybe not weighing yourself every day like I do, it's definitely an OCD thing, but I think keeping track of the weight's a good indicator, especially during peak. When you're carving up. Matt would have me check my weight after an hour and a half to 2 hours after every meal to see what that weight is, and then we pose.
Okay.
Because that way he knows, okay, this is your weight, this is what we did with this, this is what we did with this is what I'm going to do now.
What would be the minimum you would be able to weigh yourself to get ready for a show? Like, is it?
I would have to do it definitely 100% on any day I do a check-in. Obviously, I want to know.
So if it was like, would you be okay with weighing yourself only once a week or every other week, like, or once a month if you were getting ready for a show?
I was gonna say like 3 times a week. I do it every day, guy. Can we start slow?
So do I. No, but the point isn't to get used to it. I'm just saying mentally, what do you think is the bare minimum you could step on a scale if you were getting ready for a prep? I think this is hilarious.
If I had to force myself, I mean, I'd say 3 times a week, maybe.
So this is great. This is awesome.
It would be like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
It's my favorite game. So if you had the choice, you could either do no cardio and not weigh yourself, or weigh yourself and have to do cardio every day.
I'm doing cardio, bro.
Really?
I don't mind cardio. I think if you don't like cardio, you shouldn't be made for the sport.
That's true. I mean, yeah, I do cardio every day, and I'm not even doing shit.
That's what I'm saying. We do it every day. So
know.
You know what I mean? Like I'll weigh myself. Good.
Well, I want people to see
even
how
when,
serious you take the scale.
There would be days in prep where Matt would be like, okay, like, don't do nothing today. Don't even do cardio. What am I supposed to do? And he's like, that's the point, nothing. And I'm like, bro, I can't. Can I go for a walk? He's like, yeah, light walk. Go for a light walk. And I'm like, all right, I'll do that. But like, I have to do something.
There were days Chris would be like, I don't even want you brushing your teeth today.
Yeah.
Like, meaning like, I don't want you to burn any calories at all.
Just sit on a couch and don't move.
Yeah. Dude, for me, you want to torture me? Tell me to sit on a couch and not move for fucking a couple hours. I want to lose my mind.
Yeah,
lose my fucking mind.
You don't know how to sit still, bro.
No.
That's like my second favorite thing to do.
Sit still.
Go to the gym and then come home and sit.
Gym, sit still, sleep. Top 3 things to do.
That's it, baby. That's it.
Yo, I had a client, and I'm not. If he's watching, I'm not bashing you, bro. But it's just good for a topic.
Maybe slightly. If I say I'm not bashing you, you're getting bashed.
No, because he's a hardworking fucking kid. Like, he does everything I say. However, he's like, I think 7 weeks out from his first show. And I think he's asked me like 4 fucking times, do I get to have a cheat meal? Do I get to have a cheat meal? Do I get to have a cheat meal? So I talked to him today on the phone, but on my way home from getting my haircut. And I was like, hey, man, listen. I said, dieting isn't supposed to be easy. I said, it is for some people. I said, I didn't mind it. I go, bodybuilding isn't fun at some points. And I go, you're supposed to be hungry. And I go, just because you're starving or like you want a cheat meal, I'm like, that doesn't mean you need it. I said, cheat meals only get incorporated if you need it. If your body, yeah. And he was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, it's earlier on in your career, because this is where I'm going. Were cheat meals / refeed / cheat days that big of a thing? Because it only seemed like all these cheats started coming around with the introduction of social media, because then it became like, oh, like a 10,000 calorie, 20,000 calorie day, or look at my big cheat meal, or what. So I don't know if like, because I feel like back in the day, they wouldn't really cheat. They would just increase their current food.
I mean, listen, like it, it's hard to judge, right? Because I think, I would always say cheat meals are for pussies, but there was a time last year before the Olympia, I was going out to eat every week, and it was,
Barry's.
and yeah, and it was, and I felt like that was about to be the best look I've ever had coming to the stage. But, but then as we got closer to a show, obviously, we did take those out and just do higher carb meals or just regular food. But, like I said, from like it was like 14 weeks out, I would say up to 4 or 5 weeks out, maybe six. I'm not 100%, but I was going out to eat every week. And I think it created, well, I was creating one of my best, probably my best look I was gonna have on that Olympia stage. So
Yeah.
it's really hard to be like, fuck your cheat meal. But at the same time, if you are gonna do it, you got to make sure it's done correctly. Like, when Matt gave me those days, the diet throughout the week, it wasn't like I was still eating a good amount of food. Like we were to a certain degree before like my body took off, and then we had to feed a lot more. But the food during the week was, I don't want to say low, but for my size of a guy, it was low.
Yeah.
So it created that, that distance for me to have a cheat meal, because whenever I'd send them the photos, on check-in days, I'd be down, a good half or pound and a half to 2 pounds, and the look would look drastically different from the week prior.
Yeah.
And he enjoyed giving them to me specifically because it wasn't just go out and have a cheat meal for your body. It was shut everything off and go enjoy yourself and relax. And
Yeah.
I think that's more so what he looked at it more as, rather than, okay, we need, go refeed the body a little bit. It was more so take your mind off bodybuilding and relax a little bit and enjoy some, away time.
Does he do anything specific on that day? Like, does he say, don't do your cardio today because you're having a cheat meal, or do this, or train a certain body part and then have your cheat meal? Like, because Chris said something to me, which was something that fucking, you're going over 10 years ago. He said this to me. I had a coach that would give me a cheat meal or a high carb day, right? And I would still do fucking an hour and a half cardio.
Yeah, you fucked
And
up. You're defeating the purpose.
so when I started working with Chris, and it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, why have a cheat meal if I'm just gonna fucking
Because
do
you're
all this
resting the
cardio?
body, pretty much.
So when I started working with Chris was like, on my days I give higher food or I give a cheat meal, he goes, I don't want you doing cardio. And he put it he made perfect. Chris is great with analogies. And he said, if I told you to go to the bank and deposit $100, I wouldn't expect you to turn around and withdraw 101. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense.
you're you're
So
fi- you're filling back up.
exactly. So now when I work with my clients, if I give them a meal or a higher day, I don't want them doing cardio that day.
Matt's the same way. Matt will it'll be no cardio, or it'll just be like cut in half.
Yeah. Or it'll be like, go for an easy walk outside
Well,
just to
yeah,
move your body around.
like for that Olympia, honestly, bro, my cardio didn't get high. Like I was doing 45 minutes. So he would just be like, do 20 minutes for meal five, go out to eat. And that would really be
That's
it.
great. Would you rather have to eat up like that? Because it's not like you're behind, you're just kind of like ahead, which is why you're constantly eating up. Or would you, if you could pick like how your body reacted, not what Matt does, just how your body responds to things, because every time we diet, our body responds differently. But
Right.
if you could pick your perfect scenario over time, would you rather your body slowly go down and then peak right at that moment? Or would you rather it where you kind of go like this and then your body speeds up metabolism and then you got to eat up and like, would you rather that?
Well, those are both extremes.
I
I'd
know.
honestly rather kind of be somewhere in the middle, where like it's moving at a faster rate, and then we slow it down, and then it just goes like this the whole entire time. Because I do feel like if I had to pick, from one extreme to the next, I would. I'm trying to decide because I feel like both could have benefits and both could have cons.
I feel like peaking
Because the hungry side of me would be like, I want to eat my ass off. But then the other side of me would be like, I'd rather peak perfectly and be right on point on time. Because I feel like if you're too ahead and you're not playing catch up, but like it's hard to stay in that type of condition for a long period of time. So it's like mentally, I would probably be like, I want to peak right on point and then be done. And then another side of me would be like, I would rather be so far ahead that I can just eat. But then again, I'll feel like shit all day, every day still. And that's one thing people don't understand. They think, we're so lean, but they see us eating, 500-600 grams of carbs a day. And they're like, what are you tired for? You're eating so much food. Blah, blah, blah. You don't get it, bro. Like the more I eat, the more crankier I'm becoming, to be honest. Like,
isn't it crazy how that works though? Like people perception of the food we eat. It's like people don't realize that when you don't follow a diet, how difficult it is or how it can change your mood. Like just being able to eat something you want throughout the day can change your whole entire fucking mood and perspective on the day. So people that go out every day and just do it, even if they want to stop somewhere and like, oh, I'm just going to grab a sandwich from this place, or I'm just going to, even if you get something like a Chipotle bowl, because it's, I just want veggies and chicken, like that is not clean. It's not. And to have that ability to do that, and then you take that away when you're in pre-contest, that like people would always be like, oh, like they talk about steroids, like, oh, roid rage. And I'm like, roid rage. I'm like, it's not roid rage. It's more like diet rage.
I got range with or without it, bro.
Yeah, like, it's like that has nothing to do with it. The diet is always the thing
that's king.
Can you really sit there and say, oh, when people go, I hear it all the time, and I'm not arguing because I'm not saying it doesn't happen. People go, when I take Tren, I get so aggressive. I'm like, then maybe I was taking fake Tren my whole career because
I always said that I don't get that.
I never like
because when I'm on it versus I'm off it, like diet, when a hard diet is there, I'm still irritable.
Yeah.
And so the trend doesn't make any difference for me.
So
I'm irritable off it. I'm irritable on it. There's no like, it is what it is.
If you put me on any anabolics in an off season where I pretty much are free range, like follow diet to a point and then free range with other things, right? Like if I want to go out in the off season, I'm not going to question if I want to go out with my girl. You know what I'm saying? I just do it.
Yeah, you just do it.
Take that out and put me in a pre-contest diet where I'm restricted with the same things. After a certain period of time, my attitude is going to change if I'm not allowed to eat. So when people constantly say that this drug did this drug made me angry.
It's definitely more the diet.
I've never been on a drug that I could say that made me a dick, or that made me more of a dick, or that made me short-tempered.
Anyone, like will say what everyone says. You can diet for a week or so, but can you diet for 20 weeks? That's when it becomes hard.
Yeah. So would you agree? All right, we're going to eat shit on this, but because people are going to.
I'll say this: I think certain anabolics can enhance certain things if they're already there.
Like if you're a douche, you might be a little more of a douche.
You might be more douchey, but I don't think it turns you into a douche.
Yeah. But even with what you said, I agree with, right? Like if you're an asshole to begin with, you might be a little more of an asshole. But to what degree, really? Like the people that I still
think a diet is ultimately going to make you more of the douche.
Yes,
but I do firmly believe there are certain anabolics that can enhance it a little bit more. But that's also depending how much you do too. If you're an asshole that's abusing the fucking shit, I'm sure you're going to be a fucking douche. But if you're taking
like 700 mg of Tren a week,
if you're taking a minuscule amount, so we're like you're reaping the benefits, not so much the side effects, odds are you're not going to become more of a douche. That's just going to be the diet that's making you douchey.
So do you think the people that say that this is a good topic? Do you think the people that say like this right here
Your
made me
Ninja
into
Turtle
an
cup?
asshole? Well, I'm just like this ampule of Ninja Turtle ooze that I'm just thinking.
Ooh, is that Michelangelo?
Um, here's my boy with the nunchucks, son.
I see
What
him.
up?
I see him. I know the orange Michelangelo.
What up? And this is rubber too, so it's got a good grip on it.
That's dope.
Do you think the people that say that this drug made me an asshole or made me aggressive, do you think those are the same guys that were just taking way too much and weren't taking an efficacious dosage that they like maybe instead of taking 700, maybe they could have got the same results taking 300 and then they wouldn't have been such a dick? Or do you think that it's like person to person? Because, dude, I think I've done like maybe 400 megs of try. I think it's the most. I never really, and I know I didn't go above 4. And I think I was mostly at 3. I never got angrier because of that. So, but if I've never taken 700, so maybe I'm like, well, maybe if I took 700, I would have a different perspective on it. So do you think the people that abuse it are the ones that will say, this is the reason why I did this or acted like this?
Probably. I mean, I watch a lot of podcasts now, and I do see a lot of people that'll say like even doing 20 milligrams a day, I just can't handle it. But I don't. I think they get the other side effects to where it doesn't make them douchey. It more makes them fucking paranoid, and they can't sleep. I do know
Yeah.
that that's a good ultimate side effect of trend. I have never had the sleep part. Sleep perfectly fine with it. Now, if you get those. I mean, okay, like I can understand, maybe,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But I think most of the people that say they become a douche, I can't handle it, are probably the ones that are abusing the shit out of it for no reason.
So you're saying becoming a douche by taking something only because it's affecting your sleep, and then in return, the lack of sleep is making you irritable, so you're acting like a dick.
Probably.
Okay, yeah, I mean that I could see, but that's also I wouldn't call that a direct effect of the that it's affecting your sleep, which is in turn affecting your attitude. But it's you're not taking the drug, and in return, that drug's making
But
you an
then again,
asshole.
but I also I'll tell you that I do believe it is person to person because I do know people that can run a large amount of the fucking drug and they're fine. But
Yeah,
then again, I'll question if it's real or not. But
yeah.
I also know people that can do like 200 milligrams a week and they feel like they're going out of their mind with it. So I do think it's person to person, and you just got to find your proper dose or you just don't do it. I know people that have done successful preps without it. So
Yeah. Or do you think maybe it has to do with people's like mental state too? Maybe some people mentally
well, that's
just
another thing. If you're already mentally unstable and you're going to take a drug that could make you more mentally unstable, it's probably not the best choice of drug for you.
because I say it all the time. I like to think I have a pretty strong fucking mindset. Yeah, but like I don't have and I don't have an addictive personality. So like for me, I never saw that side of things. But I feel like if you're one of those people that might have like whether it's addictive personality or maybe you take anti-anxiety meds or maybe like you take meds for like a bipolar disorder, like then for me to sit here and say it shouldn't change you. Well, if you already have that going on, then you're adding this into it. Then I could absolutely understand why somebody would say that,
Of
right?
course. And I listen, I also believe, I mean, I know nobody, I mean, I'll be honest, nobody will probably ever do this, but I don't think every drug is needed to become peeled to the bone on stage.
What
Everyone
do you think
thinks
the
you
most overrated one is? If you had to choose one that people swear is a game changer,
primo.
you think is useless or you think is underrated?
I think it's overrated.
I'm going to ask, is it solely because it's hard to find real? Or even
Probably.
if you could find real?
I
What happens if you could guarantee take every drug equal pharmaceutical grade if possible and pick from that as it like that? Like the best growth, the best this, the best equipoise, the best
oh
ventapone, which is
you
clamp.
would know I think growth is overrated.
That's
I
what I
will
figured you were going to say.
I think growth is completely overrated. We're real or not. And before I get a bunch
Now
of
hold on
shit.
for you. Do you think it's overrated or for because
Okay,
you gotta remember,
before I get a bunch of shit, let me explain. I
I
personally
can hear
listen.
you. I gotta piss. Keep talking.
I listen. Obviously, everyone knows. It's part of the sport. You take it. I have taken it,
Yeah.
and I think it has greatly served its benefit for me in those terms. But I'm also at a point in my career where I don't think it's really going to serve me much at this point. I have all the size that I need to win the Olympia. I now need the refinement. And I think this, where I'm at in my career now, being still 29 years old, I don't need it for like a joint purpose. I don't need it for, a healing purpose, whatever you want to call it. I think it serves me more of a, what's the word? Not what's the opposite of a benefit?
So I'm
That
coming.
it doesn't really benefit me in this case anymore.
So I agree because I've done
Hold
the,
on, let me keep going because
yeah.
I know with my body, I stay full. A lot of people use it for the full effect. I can be full no matter what. Yes, there will come times I will go flat, but then I eat, a couple 100 grams of rice and I'm back to normal. Some people can't do that, and I know
Yeah.
growth substantially helps them maintain the fullness. I think with the way my body is, my genetic structure, everything, all the above, it's a drug I can get away with not using versus
Yeah.
other people that I feel have a faster metabolism. They're hard gainers, etc. This bullshit and that bullshit. I do think it serves a benefit in that
So
case
you
for them.
use like somebody like me that like didn't put on muscle very easily.
Yeah, I think it serves a better benefit for you than it would for me.
Now, but the argument could be, well, if you're just talking about fullness, like I just said earlier, you could just add in like an anadrol and boom, full.
And you could too. You could
You
do
know?
that too. And honestly, I'd rather do that than, buy growth.
Yeah, I agree. Like if I ask myself that question, and I think we might have touched on this like a year plus ago. I don't even know what, like somebody goes, well, what's your favorite? I can tell you what I took, right, for my normal off-season cycle or a pre-contest. But if you're gonna ask me what I like or what worked the best, bro, I have no fucking. I was one of the guys where I could be on Anadrol and I would see no difference. I'd be on growth, I would see no fucking difference. And a lot of my stuff, I got from my doctors. So it's not like I was taking some crap. So when people are like, "Oh yeah, I took Halo and this, and I took," and I'm like, I don't fucking see the difference. Like it's so hard for me to see a difference. I
Oh,
admit,
real Halo, it makes a difference. I'll tell you that.
no, it makes a difference in your physique, but like I didn't tell in the gym. Like I was pretty strong all year round. Like didn't matter. I was 2 weeks out or fucking 3 months out. I was pretty much on par with my strength. So for me to see a difference, like I've taken no more than 9 IUs of growth, and I've taken as low as 2. And
Yeah,
to ask me if I've seen a difference,
you wouldn't
I
know.
don't think so. No,
Yeah,
no, I really haven't. So for me, it's like I don't know, like it's almost like what drugs do you really need besides like test,
I
like
agree with that.
test Masteron or like or back. I mean, when I was competing with Test Deca, I mean that was like your
I
staple around
think, in my
everything. I
opinion,
don't
then
really
again,
know what else you
everyone's
need.
different. I know everyone's different. Not everyone can. I personally think Test and Deca is the best bang for your buck.
I mean that's all really. I mean back when I was, I say back, you're going 2000 and fucking
I
10,
do
right?
like.
2008.
I think MPP is very beneficial, but at the same
It's pretty
time,
similar to Deca.
But everyone everyone knows Deca works.
Well,
Like
and MPP wasn't a thing in 2000 fucking 8, 9, 10, like earlier on in my career. The MPP wasn't around. Nobody used MPP. I
I
never even
know.
heard of it until probably 5 years ago.
I just think people create these drugs and there's nothing behind it to show what it does, what it like. I stick to what I know works. Period.
Nick, my last prep with Chris, okay, my last Olympia that I did in 2020, the only thing we took was test and growth. And
Yeah,
3 weeks
well,
out, he added some things in. But if you looked at my fucking journal, it was test, growth, test, growth, test, growth, and that
and
was
I will
fucking all we
also
took.
say to a certain degree, I do think the older you get, the less you'll need.
Now, do you think that's because you're already matured that muscle and you've held it for long
Yes.
enough to where you shouldn't need enough?
Yes.
So you believe that when you're younger, you can dabble with
I think you can get
other
away with
compounds and
more.
get away with it, and then
Yeah, I
when you
do,
get
for
older,
sure.
so it's all about adaptation at that point and
Yes, I
adapting to,
certainly agree with that.
which would generally then in turn to be no different than training styles. Like you did X when you were younger because you could get away with it, and now
Now
as you
being older, you got
progress,
to adapt a little bit.
so would you be inclined to say that as you get older in general with drugs, with training, you need less? Less is probably better at that point,
I
you
think
know?
so. Yeah, I think so. 100%. Yeah.
Because you're training less now than if you went back when you were 23.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I still get in like the zone, sometimes where I'm like, okay, I can handle another set, but then before I do that set, I'm like, I probably don't need to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But it's one of those I have learned, like, to me, intensity is king. I put that first and foremost, whether that's, people can say training to failure is, not the thing anymore. And that's fine, but I go by again what's built me, what I see works around for everybody. And you have to push your body. I'm not a big advocate of the whole R&R shit. I think you can get away with not training to, the ultimate failure if you just really, really know how to connect with your muscle to that extreme level, which takes years and years and years to develop that type of skill. But even then, just my mindset, I like to push. I like to train to a failure. That's just my nature. So I mean, and that's just what works. That's what I've seen works, and that's when anyone that comes to me about training, and I'm like, you got to push harder. They do it, and then their body starts to change dramatically. You know what I mean? So there's science can say what it wants in that fact, but it works. You know?
At what point did you realize you didn't have to do that extra set? Because there was a point where you always did those sets. So when were you like, you know what, I can change my training a little bit
I
and not do that? When
there
when
wasn't
did that happen?
there wasn't I can't tell you when I just think I got to a point where like I figured out I knew how to connect extremely well, and mentally I would stop myself and then see how things would go, and I would just notice that I would feel better overall as far as less fatigue, and every week was just slightly stronger than the week before, slightly stronger than whether it was reps, weight, whatever I did, it was just every week was better, but even then, even when you pull back, with the high intensity, you're still going to hit a sticking point.
Yeah.
So then you have to pull back the intensity a little bit. But like, and I know people preach volume, volume, volume. And listen, I think volume has its great benefit. But if volume was king, I mean, we would be doing 30, 50, 100 sets every workout.
Yeah.
That's where I just think intensity is more important, because if you can
I
get
agree.
all you need out of one set, and listen, I know not everyone's doing Yates. We're not doing one fucking set.
Of
I'm always
course.
going to do at least two hard failure sets, move on. But there are some times where like I will only toward the end of a workout where like if I felt like that one set was enough and I got what I needed out of it, I'm going to force myself to walk away.
Yeah.
And usually it benefits, because the problem is I know what to do when it comes to my body sometimes, but we don't always want to listen. We're like,
Of
nah,
course.
I need another one. Um, but for example, when it comes to leg training, like for leg extensions, I will only do one set of leg extensions, because to me, that's not my main movement. I'm gonna warm it up. I'm gonna hit it hard, and
Squat
then I'm
press,
and then I'm gonna go to a leg press where that's gonna be
bread
where
and
I fuck
butter.
shit up for 2 sets, even sometimes 3. and then I'll move on to a hack squat. And believe it or not, sometimes I might just do one set there. You know, if I underestimated to where like I probably could have gone heavier, but if I'm connecting and I feel it, I'm just gonna say fuck it and send it and hit like 20 reps. And if my legs are full blown out and that was a failure set, what's the point of doing another one at that point? My legs are already fried. I just did a crazy failure set on leg extensions, demolished them on a leg press, and now I just did a true failure set of 20 reps on a hack squat. Is there really more you can do at that point? Because now
Well,
I don't believe
it's not about
I don't
could do it.
think overtraining is the ultimate is a thing per se.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a limit where like you can push too far. And
Yeah, it's
then
like,
when it comes
is
to
it
your next,
advantageous at that point?
yeah, and then when you come to your next leg session and you're not recovered, then that's what I call overtraining.
Yes.
But if you know what I mean, because I know if I have, let's just say legs are Friday, right? Bang them out. By Wednesday, for me, I want to be fully recovered. Fully
So you
recovered.
have like that
Even
2-day, 48-hour period.
even Tuesday. So now I have a couple days to really freshen up and then hit it
Yep.
hard again. I feel like if Thursday I just recovered, or even that morning of Friday, I feel finally fresh. To me, that's not enough.
Yeah. Like I would always train my legs on Monday. And then sometimes on like Friday, I'm like, how the fuck am I still sore? So I'm like, all right, this coming Monday, I gotta back off a little because I can't still be sore on
Yeah.
fucking Friday. It's crazy,
I
you know?
would, and then that point when for me, what I would start by backing off is I wouldn't change the intensity. I would just do less sets
Yep.
and
Yep.
see how that worked. And if I'm still dramatically fucking sore, then I'd be like, okay, maybe I gotta pull back the intensity a little bit for
Yeah.
this week and see
Yeah.
how it goes.
Or just take an
But
exercise completely out.
or that too. Sometimes that benefits. Like for quads, I do 3 movements really, because I'm also still figuring out my recovery because I still train. I train everything every 4 to 5 days now. So like I know the way I train. I could probably, and I'm not kidding. I could probably do one set of leg extensions. I could probably do one hard set of a leg press and one hard set of a hack squat, just because I know how well I connect, and I could be fully recovered for the next one. But mentally, it's hard to do because
Yeah.
you want to do a little more. But I try to limit it as much as I can, and my legs have been showing a dramatic difference already.
Oh, you can tell in your photos. I mean, what, and I know you got a haircut at 1. So this will be the last question I ask you.
Yeah.
Going off of the one I just asked you, what point was it when you were like, you know what? I don't need to get bigger. Like because when you first turned pro, you weren't the way you look now. So
Yeah,
there
yeah,
had
yeah.
to come a point where you're like, you know what? I've done all the work to gain the mass. Now it's just fine tuning. Like that had to be a point where you were like, okay, because things have to change in your day to day, whether it's training, whether it's drug protocol, food, where you're like, I don't need to get bigger. This is plenty of muscle. And I know that sounds crazy, but on your frame, you actually don't need an ounce more muscle. Now,
I think it
recomping
was.
things and changing things, yes. But like, when did that come to fruition?
I think last year, honestly. I think after the Arnold, um, and I think the main thing is I always get criticized for my waist, right? So it's like, okay, I don't need to be bigger, like because everyone knows in order to get bigger, there's certain extremes you need to push, which
Yeah, food.
is gonna make the waist become a little larger. It is
Of
what it
course.
is. So I'm like, that's something I don't need. Matt agreed. So yes, we push food to a degree of to make sure that the way I train, I'm recovered properly. Everything is so when the scale would go up, it would be very, very little, very small, very small, very small. So that way I didn't have, a bloated look. I didn't have this type of look. And training wise, I think the ultimate thing that I did, which I don't always want to discredit the foundations, but I stopped deadlifting, I stopped squatting, I stopped doing things that I thought would thicken the waist a little more.
Yeah.
And I think I just did more chest supported shit. I stopped doing a lot of hip hinge stuff that I thought would really widen the waist, because that's just I have wide waist, that is what it is, but I don't want to make it wider.
Now, do you believe those exercises actually do, or you're just like they're the exercises that you hear could, So do you believe they did, or you're just like, I don't want to risk it. Just God forbid they even did.
I just don't want to risk it.
Okay.
I don't want to risk it. And listen, I still do them. Like once
Yeah.
in a, like every couple of weeks, I'll do rack deads. Every couple of weeks, you know, I'll do RDLs. Every couple of weeks, I don't take them out completely because I think they're extremely beneficial. They're just not a weekly thing for me.
Overused.
Yeah, I use
Yeah.
them. Like if I like rack deads, I will probably do every 2 weeks.
I love rack deads.
Me too.
I love rack deads.
Me too.
They're one of my
So and
favorite
that
exercises.
exercise for me is hard because it's hard not to do every week. Well, honestly, I don't do it every week too, because like I said, I train everything every 4 to 5 days, and if my lower back's just not recovered, I'm not doing it.
I
I'm not
like
gonna
those. You
fuck
you can get nitty gritty with those and just fucking have
Oh, you
fun.
get
Just
nasty.
pull and fucking I love those exercises that you could just fucking get dirty with.
But I also,
Those are
for
my
me,
fucking
I
favorite.
have found when I don't do certain movements every week and I save them for every other, especially compound movements like that, they just feel better.
Benefit more.
They feel better, and I'm able to get
Yeah.
more out of it versus doing it
Yep.
every week.
Yeah, you're
So
getting a more benefit from it, more ROI.
yeah,
So now the next ROI you're gonna get is a fucking haircut because you gotta say get all freshened up. So I will let you
Freshy.
go. I already got mine done this morning. I don't know how it looks.
Well, he
but
got a hat on, bro. Look at you,
at the freshie,
freshy,
but
freshy.
I'll go let you catch up to this look. So comment, like, subscribe. Mutant in the mouth, 14 weeks out from Mr. Olympia. My boy's looking insane in that tank top. We will catch y'all next time. Happy 4th, motherfuckers, America. And hope you guys have a good weekend. Stay blessed. Mutant mouth, we out.
Yeah.